The mission was carried out with stealth and with precision. There were no American casualties. And while Congress is divided after receiving briefings on the extent of the damage, I'm sure that we've derailed Iran's nuclear program, at least temporarily.
Yeah, of course.
And there's some valuable deterrent effect for America's adversaries who witnessed last week's exercise.
Yep.
Then, last Tuesday, President Trump left the White House en route to Europe. At the time, there was a question as to whether Israel and Iran would honor a ceasefire. That caused the president to offer the most unfiltered, non-controversial, direct words that I can recall anybody ever saying about the Middle East.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
And then he just walked off.
Cut to The Hague, where he arrived for NATO meetings and was able to wrangle an agreement from our allies to more than double their defense spending target from 2% of gross domestic product to 5% by 2035.
The video is 6 minutes, and we are 1 minute into the video. This has been a crazy fucking week.
Also, while at NATO, in a press availability, he did something rare for Trump and I found rewarding. He showed empathy. It came in an exchange with a Ukrainian journalist who said that her husband was a soldier. She asked whether the U.S. would supply her country with Patriot missiles.
Are you living yourself now in Ukraine?
My husband is there.
Wow.
And
I can see you very, it's amazing.
And me with the kids, I'm in Warsaw actually, because he wanted me to be.
Is your husband a soldier? No?
He is.
He's there now. They do want to have the anti-missile missiles, okay, as they call them, the Patriots.
The anti-missile missiles.
And we're going to see if we can make some available. I wish you a lot of luck. I mean, I can see it's very upsetting to you. So say hello to your husband, okay?
Also in that presser, he was more reflective and respectful than usual of our allies.
They want to protect their country. And they need the United States. And without the United States, it's not going to be the same. And I left here differently. I left here saying that these people really love their countries. It's not a ripoff. And we're here to help them protect their country.
Back at home, Trump claimed that he's reached a trade deal with China and soon expects the same with India.
Jesus.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick told Bloomberg that the deal was signed earlier this week. China's Commerce Ministry said Friday the two sides had further confirmed the details of the framework. Of course, Trump's initial imposition of tariffs wreaked havoc on American markets back in the spring. But now the markets have rebounded and grown. The S&P 500, NASDAQ hit record highs just yesterday.
This is all in 1 week. I actually think, like, at this point, especially now, the fact that so many of these have been working and going so well, this is just going to encourage them more and more and more.
And it's not just the stock market.
Yeah,
inflation,
we got
the great economic fear of recent
7
times
more years of this.
seems to be tamed. The rate is now reported at 2.4%, down from a high of 7% just 4 years ago. Meanwhile, blue-collar workers have seen real wage growth of 1.7% in Trump's first 5 months. This is the largest such increase in nearly 3 generations. Notwithstanding its impact on our national debt, there's also hope among some that Trump's big, beautiful bill will give further financial relief to blue-collar workers, as well as create incentives to build more factories in the U.S. Some already see this happening. For instance, General Electric has just announced that it'll invest almost $500 million in moving production of washing machines from China to Kentucky. And then there's the border. Crossings have slowed to a trickle, according to CBP's May update. Southwest border and...
It's crazy how you can just do things, right? This is the same as that guy in El Salvador. Well, what are you going to do about all the crime? We've got all these people here committing crime. Well, we're going to build a really big jail, and then we're going to put all the people that are doing the crime in jail, and then there's not going to be any more problems. Wow. Narrative is changing, isn't it? CNN glazing Trump wasn't on my bingo card. It was not on for me. They relayed Iranian intelligence propaganda by mistake a few days ago, and now all of a sudden they're pro-Trump. Someone got replaced. I think that really, I mean, you have to understand that CNN and all of these different news agencies are for-profit corporations. Their goal is not to deliver the news in an accurate way. Their goal is to maximize shareholder value. And because of that, when you see them making a decision for or against anything. You should not assume that this decision is informed at all by an ideology. Well, it is informed by an ideology. That ideology is money.
Have fallen to about
To engage
282
people, yeah.
a day, a drop of 93% from last year, and the lowest since the
6
early
months, yeah.
1960s. Perhaps the loudest cheering for those border numbers is coming from America's Latino community, which might initially sound counterintuitive.
Yeah, it's so counterintuitive because everybody knows all Latinos are illegal aliens, right? I mean, duh. That's... I mean, it would be racist to deport them, right? I mean, of course. Like, oh my God.
On Thursday, Pew Research released an enormous data analysis of the 2024 election, which contained several surprises. High on that list, President Trump won a bigger percentage of the Latino vote than previously believed. Hillary Clinton had a 38% lead over Trump among Hispanics in 2016. Yep. Joe Biden beat Trump in this demo by 25 percentage points. Kamala Harris's margin among these same voters over Trump, just 3 points.
That's right. It's happening. Things are shifting in an insanely fast pace. Latinos don't want to be equated with criminals. Yeah. Has it ever occurred to them that maybe one of the reasons why you have Hispanic and Latino voters moving away from this party is because the party refuses to differentiate them from illegal aliens? And they just assume that they have some sort of shared racial solidarity with an illegal alien. They're like, it's also like, oh, well, you know, everybody in South America is just, no, they're not. A Brazilian isn't the same as a person from El Salvador, which is different than a person from Argentina, which is different than a person from fucking Peru. Right? I mean, these are all different places. It's not like, oh, well, they're all the same because they have the same skin color. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's almost like Democrats are racist. I agree. I do. Except for the white Karens. Why do we care about them? I'm doing my best. Okay? I'm doing my best. I'm trying to get rid of that. It's gonna be a really long, hard fight, but we're gonna do our best. Takes time. You see 3 Karens right now, getting sued. That's only the beginning. One step at a time, gentlemen. Just one step at a time.
Even more surprising, perhaps, Pew Research concludes that if everyone had voted in 2024, contrary to the widely held belief that higher turnout helps Democrats, Trump would still have won.
Wow.
The data show 44% of non-voters said that they would have gone for Trump compared to 40% of non-voters.
This is me. If I had to pick, I would have picked Trump. I just didn't. I didn't think he'd come through because I didn't feel like he came through on the first term. If I could go back, I'd vote for him, though. I'll tell you that.
Would have gone for Harris.
No faith.
So if more had voted,
You're right.
his margin would have grown. Yesterday came a huge decision from the Supreme Court. The High Court declared that federal district judges exceeded their authority when issuing nationwide injunctions against Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship. This will, of course, strengthen executive power both for Trump and for his successors.
Yep.
And finally,
J.D. Vance,
a Democratic
Marco
socialist just won the nomination for mayor of New York City.
Yep.
And perhaps you're wondering, well, how does that affect Trump? It gives him the perfect foil, someone to play off in future political battles. This morning's New York Post references campaign literature for Zohran Mamdani, which advocates for increased taxation for, quote, richer and whiter neighborhoods.
Such an unforced error. I think Mamdani has a number of good ideas. Why is it that every person that has any degree of democratic socialist ideas has to be a retarded racist? Why does that have to happen? Why can't we have somebody that has these ideas that isn't a retarded racist? I'm tired of these buffoons. I am too. It's so frustrating.
Just imagine what Trump will do with
Bernie.
Winning
I
became
tried,
a punchline.
okay?
That Trump's opponents used to lampoon him in his first administration. He was a political novice then, surrounded by a team with which he was unfamiliar, and he was probably as surprised as the rest of us were that he won the election. This time is different.
I remember 2016 election night. I went out with my mom to Taco Bell, and we were sitting on the sofa together. And I had my smartphone. This is like I had just had it, so she wasn't used to me having it. And I said, look at this. And she says, what? I said, he won. And she says, yep. I remember this so well. I was on a plane, yeah. And I remember I even screenshotted it. Because I was like, there's no fucking way, right? I thought this was going to be like one of those things where, like, remember, I think it was like a Truman, you know, like they like misprinted or like misread the election. And so they said like one guy won, it was somebody else. I was like, there's no way this is what happens, right? And then he actually ended up winning. Your mom voted for Trump? Oh, we both did. My mom and I both went out and voted for Trump. 100%. Not even a question. Why would I vote for Hillary Clinton? She wanted me to vote for her because she's a woman. Well, I'm not a woman. Why would I vote for somebody based on an identity that I'm not part of? It's just what I said before. Anybody that wants an advantage because of an identity that I'm not part of, I will never vote for them. Period. That's it. I'm a single issue voter. Yep.
This time he came with a plan and a cabinet with senior advisors comprised of loyalists all well known to the president.
Yep.
And recently, he's exhibited a more layered approach to governing on both the domestic and international front, no longer solely guided by winning each day's news cycle.
Yep.
By any objective measure,
I think this is definitely one of the huge...
President Trump has his opponents on the run.
I am shocked. Like, this week has been fucking insane. And I think also because Trump has racked up a lot of these W's, especially with things like the tariffs and also the Iran war, he's racked up these W's that have proven the media wrong. I think that what that's really done is that it's given him a tremendous amount of credibility now. So the next time that he does something that is a bit of a reach, that's a bit of a risk, he's going to be able to make a withdrawal on that credibility. And people are going to be more likely to trust him. He's not attacking a news cycle like in his first term. He's setting terms for it and dictating it. Yeah, he's just doing his job, and that's it. I think Iran strike is his only W so far. Well, I'm a big fan of getting rid of birthright citizenship. I think that's a huge positive. Him getting rid of all the DEI initiatives was also great. I feel like there's probably like 5 or 6 things that I can really point to and say that, oh, getting rid of USAID, where we're just like spending money on bullshit around the world. I don't care about that. It obviously wasn't working. So yeah, a lot of the border, yeah, shutting down the border, deporting people constantly, the Rwanda war. Yeah. Oh, making diplomacy with the Middle East. I honestly, I think that like, you know, in 50 years, us and Saudi Arabia and UAE and Qatar and maybe even Syria, right? Like, we can have a really great relationship. And I think we can do that. And the way that you do that is exactly by doing what he's doing. So, yeah,